All right, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you. So what we've got today is the second part of the submission. There are 25 books back from CGC going to my consigner. I've already covered the first 8, finishing with Hulk #1 from 2008, the Red Hulk. And today we're kicking off with Marvel Age 41. So what I'm going to do is go through the next 8 books in the submission. And I'll do what I always do, and that's go through every book, tell you what I've done to it, tell you what it cost me, and tell you what my grade expectations were, and then we'll do an unveiling and see if CGC agree and what they gave us. Make sure you like and subscribe. I enjoy doing this content, and if you like watching it, then there'll be lots more of it for you to see. So without any further ado, let's get stuck into Marvel Age number 41. It's an iconic cover celebrating Stan Lee. I think it's a painted cover. So this one cost me $30. And it turned up with a little bit of light tanning on the back cover, which I could easily deal with. And this is a great book that I think if it was going to come back in a 9.8, I will be adding to my PC. So I was very hopeful. So I sent it to CGC expecting a 9.8 because there were no issues otherwise. It tied it up really well. And they said 9.8. Wow. So off to an amazing start in the second part of the submission. Yeah, so this book will have to come back to me once it lands at the consigner and get added to my PC. Really happy to have that one in a 9.8. So, you know, it's got a bit of value, but it's not about that. Sometimes it's about just collecting the things that are important to you. So, moving on to Marvel Presents number 72. This is I think it's the original, it's the whole Weapon X with Wolverine kickoff series. And it cost me $31 from a seller I've bought from before. And it looked pretty good, but it had a few ticks. It had a few ticks that I think were noteworthy, and I wasn't sure if they were going to come back as a negligible or minor. And I thought it had a chance at a 9.8, but probably 9.6. So, you know, 70% 9.6, 30% 9.8. So set CGC hoping for a 9.8, but expecting a 9.6, and they said 9.8. So that's fantastic. A great little book, not hugely valuable, but lovely to get that one in a 9.8, and yeah, we've had a great run with 9.8 so far. So moving on to Miles Morales, Spider-Man #2 from 2019. So I found this at my LCS. I was just randomly going through a few of the short boxes, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting book I'd like to have. It also has a tribute to Stan Lee. So I just wanted this, and if it's a 9.8, this one will go into my PC as well. But the back of it, and why it's valuable in a 9.8, is that, you know, it's dark on the front, and the back cover is also just completely black, like completely black. So anything shows up, scuffing, ticks, and the back of it does have a fair bit of sort of rub. And I thought it was going to be more than what would probably be normal for this book. So I sent it off anyway, hopeful of a 9.8, but really expecting a 9.4 to 9.6. And CGC said 9.6, and that's okay. I think that's fair. I'll probably have to just try and sell this one to recoup most of my costs and keep on the hunt out for a 9.8 for it. So moving on to Moon Knight #24. So this is a great cover. It's a negative, I have in front of me, I believe it's the Negative Space cover by Bill Sienkiewicz. Yeah, so it cost me $24. I had a few light ticks, which were okay, but there were some light stains on the back cover on the white, which I cleared up with a bit of a hop. And there was the back cover still had a few bends and a light crease in a certain light. So I thought it was going to be 9.4 to 9.6, just because it wasn't quite at the 9.8 level, which is disappointing because it's a great cover to have. So I said to CGC expecting 9.4 to 9.6 and got 9.6. Okay. And I wish I could tell you the grader notes, but this is the first non-9.8 I've received from the CGC without grader notes. So your guess is as good as mine. That's all right. Moving on to Punisher #1 from the 1987 series, which was the ongoing series. Cost me $27. Yeah, so the top and bottom front cover on the edges had the corners had micro creases, and there's a bit of tanning near the spine, which I sort of lightened a little bit. But there were definitely issues on the corners no matter what I did. I don't think there was any getting around that, and I thought it was going to come back as a 9.4. So yeah, so CGC expecting 9.4 and received a 9.6. All right, let's see. But this one does have graded notes, so that's good. Crease on the right top of the front cover breaks color. So yeah, the corners just had some small creases, and I think that's fair. And the 9.6 is more than reasonable. So moving on to Spectacular Spider-Man #1 from the second ongoing series in 1976. Yeah, cost me $27 from a trusted seller. Came in quite worse condition than I was expecting. The front cover had a large tick and a few smaller ones. Had some small light creases near the bottom right corner, which you can see. If you can't, I'll blow it up a little bit more. I remember those. They were just little creases along the bottom right corner. And there was a bit of staining and some foxing near the spine of the barcode on the front and the back, which I removed. Did a bit of stain removal on that. There were some stubborn spots. I worked it. You know, it's a nice book. I'd love to have this in a really super high grade, but I don't think that was going to be it. I think the creasing on the corner, we're going to limit it to pretty severely, and there were multiple little creases there. So I was thinking maybe 8.5 would be a fair range, along with an accumulation of some of the other issues. So CGC expecting sort of a 8.5 best, and got 9.2. All right, so that's a little bit better than I was expecting. And the graded notes are spine stress lines and a crease on the right bottom of the front cover. So, okay, I think that's fair. They just thought the crease wasn't quite as terrible as I did. Okay, happy for that one. Moving on to Star Wars Droids #1 from 1986, and it cost me $13. It was just a cute book. I like it. I do like Star Wars. I think it's like a comic based on an animated series, which seems funny. Another derivative. And it cost me $13. I might have mentioned that. Had a couple of negligible ticks and some binder issues along the spine. There was a bit of scuffing on the front cover, which you can see in the top right there. However, there was a small tear to the right edge and a small crease on the bottom right corner. Yeah, so there's a few issues, and I thought it was going to be limited to a 9.0. The thing about small tears is if you press them well enough, they disappear. They're not really visible, but they have to be really small. But I thought the crease was definitely going to limit it otherwise. So 9.2 maybe is what I was expecting. Says CGC, and they said 9.6. All right, good. So, and they've noted a crease on the right bottom of the front cover. So that's, I think, a nice outcome for that book. All right, so moving on to the last book of the submission. Of the second part of this submission is X-Men #107. So this is a huge issue. It's the first Starjammers. There's a whole bunch of first appearances. I think there's a new Wolverine costume. And it cost me $106. And it came with a lot of issues. There were a lot of ticks, including a heavy tick, and it was kind of down the bottom staple, which was a bit of a gouge. So there's a few things. I had a nice, I believe, had a nice white, friendly-ish spine on the left side, but there are a few stains, which I tried to reduce. There was one on the front cover, a few on the back cover, some small finger bends and bits and pieces, just a number of issues which I had to work. I remember I spent a fair bit of time with this book. In a 9.8, this book is insanely valuable. This book was never going to be a 9.8 in my view. I thought 9.2, it cleaned up really well. It came in, it was probably a 7.0, and I think I got it to a 9.2, but there were just the accumulation of ticks, and that little thing around the bottom staple thing was just going to be too much for it. So instead of CGC expecting a 9.2, and got a 9.6. Wow. Graded notes are the staple tear near the staple. So the bottom staple, there were some staple tears, and they're the main issues that are visible. It looks sharp. It looks great in the pictures, and Wow, to think, and that's got a fair bit of value in even 9.6. So that's a great outcome. It's amazing to think it was that close to a 9.8. Yeah, so sometimes all the work you put into these books is worth it. So, all right, so that concludes the second part of this submission. There is one more to come with 9 books, which I'll be recording shortly. If you like this kind of content, hey, just like and subscribe. You'll just get notified about when it comes out again, and the next one comes out. And yeah, appreciate any feedback you've got as well. Just drop me a line and let me know if you want me to go faster, slower, cover more books, less books. If you've watched this far, I'd be really interested in your feedback. So otherwise, thanks for watching.